Frankly, nowadays, with regards to BRICS, I don't have more anxieties about BRICS than before. Trump's advent in the White House will definitely change some, rules of the game for some of the actors or situations on the ground for a number of ongoing conflicts and ongoing turbulences in the world. But in fact, for BRICS, what was always important, and for all the countries that are part of the BRICS, is their situation when each country, first of all, is equal, and each country is minding its own national interest. Pragmatic approach to its place, pragmatic approach to its ideas and desires of what it wants in the world. And Trump is about that as well. We've heard today at the conference Tulsi Gabbard, and she's been saying exactly, in fact, what reigns in answers to their queries of majority of leaders. And that is that if he wants to make America first, Narendra Modi wants to make India first, Vladimir Putin Russia first, Xi Jinping China first, that's perfectly normal. But what means and what needs to be done is that, and each leader has to be taking care of his people. This is perfectly right for development, but there needs to be talk. Of course, Trump was making a number of, statements like a threat to introduce 150 tariffs if there's further, discussions of their elimination of dollar. But BRICS was not, first of all, discussing didn't have the idea that dollar has to be destroyed, right? The idea was to, first of all, offer rules that would be acceptable to all the countries, not just a few. And then with regards to payment system, introduce an alternative payment system. It wasn't either of the BRICS countries who started to use dollar or SWIFT as a weapon. This is important to understand. And we need to, in each BRICS country's core interest is to ensure themselves against and hedge themselves against possible risks. Today we have Russia under sanctions, we have Iran under sanctions, China under certain sanctions, but we don't know what happens, for example, when the next administration comes, how much they would be willing to change the rules of the game. And so the idea is not to kind of harm America in any way, be it under President Trump or under any other president, and this is a sovereign choice of their people. But the idea in BRICS discussions is to reach a deal. This is something that is very close to Trump's understanding. Reach a deal where they would be able to hedge themselves against possible risks in order to develop independently and in line with their own interests, national interests. So I think this task didn't go anywhere. And there might be, let's say, more discussions of how to ensure it and how to put forward the necessity to ensure that all those things that are used as weapon are no longer the case for either of the BRICS countries. So it's about our own proper development and our own hedging against possible current or future risks. So this doesn't go against Trump or United States. And I think from this point of view, there's always a possibility, once again, to make a deal within BRICS between either of the BRICS countries and United States, and reach an agreement on a wider stage. Well, first of all, we all know India is undisputably a great power, and it's not only because of its almost 1.5 billion of population, which of course also plays a role, but it's a dynamically developing economy. It's also technologically developing country, and what is important is that the stance and the position India has taken and Prime Minister Modi has taken is very much, once again, I will mention this again, in line with the interests of the people of India, which is most important. But he is also not trying to divide things into black and white. And India is taking pragmatic position in the current turbulent world, talking to all sides that could be on the opposite sides of their spectrum. And from this point of view, first of all, India could be showing example. And in fact, its principles are one of the key principles of BRICS, and it is important to know that. And India could also be playing a role, in fact, as, let's say, probably mediator in certain cases. And India is much more trusted by other countries. Let's say if you compare to Europe, for example. So India is much more reliable and much more trusted partner in order to make things right. So it's a combination of a potential, different, let's say, a combination of potentials, territorial, geographic, demographic, from international organizations for security, resources, etc., but also its authority in the world. It is also not the last thing to consider. So I think it has it is already playing a great role, and it will be increasing in the years to come. We're hoping we're having high expectations for the upcoming visit. To the two leaders, they have very real friendly personal ties. They meet on a regular level, and I'm very much hoping that we will be able to announce, and not only to announce, what matters is not to sign something on papers, but I'm quite sure that the two countries' potential of relations is still underdeveloped, be it economic area, be it humanitarian area, and such visits are always a good, how you call it, is a good, not promotion, but a good push for the projects that are brewing and developing. But of course, such visits could make this launch faster, and we're very much hoping that this visit would also provide for a push in bilateral relations in a number of scientific, educational, commercial, and other projects of the two countries. I'm quite sure of that. Yes, indeed, and I think I've been telling this, like with the previous questions, that the country that minds its own interests, that is very much intended and concentrated on realizing its national interests. And the one, in fact, that is making progress on that front is always seen as a strong partner and a respected partner. You know, if you can threaten someone and this someone just runs immediately after you say, no, yes, I will do anything, you have, it's common psychology. It works both with people and with countries. If you push someone, you will feel tempted to continue pushing this person if this person allows you. The same with countries. India doesn't allow that. It minds its own interests. It goes firmly ahead with that, and that definitely brings respect from both Trump and Putin, and allows for a much bigger room for maneuver and bigger room for negotiations and agreements because of that. So I believe what India is doing is once again an example to be followed by other countries. So if you realize what is the interest of your people, you stand firmly on this path, you're the winner. Well, first of all, of course, it was always a pleasure to be working with the Indian colleagues. But what I'm witnessing is their, first of all, expansion in number of very intellectual, sophisticated, and intellectual leaders, and it is always interesting to to be having such discussions, because as a result, there is always a way, first of all, on Indian soil, because it gathers many different points of view. First of all, to learn what are their differences, of some of which you might be kind of losing in sight, and that needs to be considered, but also the ability to work out on some new bold projects that would be further on supported even on the governmental level. That's what we've been doing in BRICS. That's what is happening on a bilateral level. And I can test it from the point of view of the BRICS Academic Forum, when, of course, Indian counterparts are harsh negotiators, but if you come to an agreement, then you can be assured that all sides would be willing to put it forward. And similarly with the bilateral, it takes time, sometimes a bit longer than you would kind of be used to, but the projects that were coming, be it, for example, joint scientific laboratories or student exchange or coordination and common educational programs, they always bear fruit. And I can testify that in Russia there is growing interest in the culture of India, in knowing more about its people, the country, and our students are in fact very much enjoying visits to India, and that is why and I see similar process of return process from Indian side, and we also very much enjoying hosting Indian students for both regular educational programs, joint degrees, or short-term and long-term mobility programs. So, as I said, this potential is still under-discovered. We have very good partners among Indian universities. I can name many of them. Let me name just a few, like JNU or Delhi University and Jindal. In fact, the number of partners is increasing, and that's good news for us, and I think it's beneficial both ways, and that's how we are looking at the situation. And I think what is beneficial for India, what is beneficial for us, we will be achieving our goal much faster, going one way together. So, and that's how we see both intellectual exchange and scientific and educational collaborations.